So a couple of preliminary thoughts first. As I was driving over here, I was wondering to myself, do I have the misfortune of being in Julie Von Haven's district? Does anybody know if this space physically is Julie? It's not. Okay, good. This club, they darn well have a plan to help get rid of her in now what is a year and a half, because that is a national embarrassment to be posting the president's severed head on Twitter. It made, was it libs of TikTok or something like that? So I hope this club has a plan to fix that. It's going to take everybody. I hope you've got a candidate lined up, but we need it. The other is that as a proud member of this club, as a proud member of the Wake GOP, and Sandy reminded me that I am still chair of Precinct 0136. I do need to fix that. It is so good to see Wake GOP here, to see Sandy and Donna, and to see that harmony that there is between the best club and the best county party in the state. So I commend y'all on that. I can tell you from seeing it up close, that wasn't always the case. So it is so good to see y'all. So I thought I'd give a little bit of an update about what we've got going on at the Department of Labor while I'm here tonight. But the first reflection I've got is, when I was here a year ago, man, what a difference a year makes. When I was here a year ago, I had never run for political office before. And now I've got the great honor of standing before you as North Carolina's 20th Labor Commissioner. Youngest one elected in over a century, youngest current member of the Council of State, I think. I'm not sure. But it's a great honor, and people have asked me continuously, and I'm always surprised by this question. They ask me, do you like it? Which to me is a strange question, because who would go through all this if they didn't think they'd like it? But I guess there are some people who are like the dog that caught the car and realized, what did I do? Let me tell you, I am not one of those people. Being your labor commissioner is the best darn job I have ever had. I love this state. This state has given me all the good things in my life. Look, God has ultimately given me all the good things in my life, but they came to me through being a North Carolinian, and so my love for this state is so deep. And this chance now to serve the state that I love, best job I've ever had, it is both fun and meaningful and impactful. You know, I get to meet amazing people, shake their hand, hear their story, and then go back and be the chief executive of one of the best agencies in state government, and that is the North Carolina Department of Labor. So if anybody's asking, am I happy that this worked out? The answer is yes. I love serving you, and it is an incredible job. Now, one of the things, I've been traveling all over the state these last 6 months, going to different safety awards and things like that, and I find most of the time people have no idea who the labor commissioner is or what the labor commissioner does, except for one thing. Does anybody want to guess what the one thing is? Yes, so I am the elevator guy all over North Carolina. Notwithstanding all the other important things this department does, being the elevator guy is all that anybody knows. But this is not a group of low information voters, as Rush used to say. So I know you know me as more than just the elevator guy. And after the first 6 months being in office, here are the things that I hope you really know me for. Being the guy that ended DEI at the North Carolina Department of Labor. The first state government agency to do it since new people took over. It was gone within about 10 days of me taking office. Basically, as quickly as I could figure out that it was there. And you may have heard me say this before, but this is important because I am new to government, and y'all are probably, I'm experiencing this kind of the same way you would if you came into government. Nobody came to me and said, hey, Commissioner, we know you ran as a conservative, you were elected as a conservative. You might be concerned to know that we have DEI in our policies at the Department of Labor. Not a single person offered that to me, despite knowing the kind of conservative and leader I am. Instead, I found it myself by going through our HR policies Because that's what you elected me to do, is to actually run the department, not just be a figurehead. And I came upon it myself, and as soon as I found it, I said, first of all, why didn't you tell me about this? But second of all, it's got to go, and I don't want a bunch of hand-wringing or discussion about, we're going to form a committee to handle this. I said, it's got to be done by the end of the week. Figure out what it takes to do that, and write it out of our policies immediately. And the reason for that is because we are returning to merit as the gold standard in that department, at the Department of Labor. Merit has to be the gold standard. Merit is what made America great in the first place, and merit is what will make America great again. Anything less, especially in the Department of Labor, is dangerous. We inspect your elevators for safety, your escalators, your moving sidewalks, every amusement ride that you or your kids or your grandkids get on, every working man and woman who goes to work in a dangerous factory or on a construction site, we inspect those job sites for safety. And the people who deserve to do that work are the people who merit being appointed, not anything more and not anything less. And so we are back to a merit-based system at the Department of Labor, and I'm proud of it. I'm also the guy after 6 months who stood up to Governor Josh Stein when he tried to cut our Council of State meetings in half. This was early on. You may not have followed this story, but the Council of State, of which I'm proud to be a member, Treasurer Briner's a member, Auditor Bullock, who's not here tonight, we serve on the 10-member Council of State, and we are supposed to meet at least once a month to conduct the people's business. There are a lot of things that cannot be done without the approval of the Council of State. And we've been meeting monthly, or we had met monthly for years, until the governor proposed cutting those meetings in half. And I had a problem with that. I was thinking, read the room. People are expecting more from their government right now, not less. And so I said, we've got to get back to meeting once a month. And the governor conceded on that, to his credit, that he realized that getting it done, meeting every other month is not going to cut it. Now, would I want to have to sit down with me regularly and the other Republicans on the Council of State? Probably not. But it's what has to be done in order to get people's business done. And lastly, over these last 6 months, I've been the guy who's been fighting to protect our Council of State from the governor's unconstitutional power grab to strip the Council of State of any real meaning. How many people have been following the case about the Board of Elections that's working its way through our courts? Yes, again, I know, not low information voters. But I don't think you can overstate how important that case is for having a meaningful, functional Council of State. Because the governor's argument in that case is that only he can execute the laws in this state. But that is not the system, that the framers of our wonderful state constitution came up with. They created 10 different statewide elected executive officers to carry out the laws of this state. Not just one all-powerful governor, but purposefully diffusing power over 10 executive officials. The system we have has its origins in our colonial era, when the colonial governor had a privy council to advise the governor. But our framers moved beyond that from an advisory council to a council with executive authority. And so we are in a position where the governor is arguing that the General Assembly cannot assign to these Council of State members duties that involve execution of the laws. And that threatens to undo the Council of State as any kind of meaningful body and the members as any kind of meaningful executive officers. And so if you value the ability to vote for me, to vote for Treasurer Briner, and for us not only to vote for us, but to carry out the promises that we ran on, then you have to oppose this argument by the governor that only he has executive authority. And so we have been speaking out against that. We are not currently part of the lawsuits, but we will be joining those lawsuits on behalf of the Council of State. Because if this goes through, the Council of State's just a bunch of figureheads. So that's where the department's been. That's what we're up to. Those are my priorities every day, focusing on doing the things that I promised to you when I ran. One other observation I want to share with you, and this is just sort of a candid observation, and it goes back to my point about DEI and having to discover it for myself and not having anybody bring it to my attention. Folks, the deep state is real. There is a version of the deep state that exists in every government bureaucracy, whether it's something big, like USAID in Washington, or something small, like the agency that I run, the Department of Labor. That doesn't mean all of the people working in state government or part of the bureaucracy are bad, but it does mean that in every agency there is an entrenched bureaucracy that is looking to serve its own interests first. Whether that be to perpetuate just the existence of the agency, keep people employed, whatever it may be, but it's real. I have seen it up close enough times now to know that it is there and it is a threat to our constitutional system. It's going to take strong leaders now and going forward to wrestle with it and wrestle control back to the people and away from the bureaucrats. So that's what I have the privilege to fight for every day. So thank you. God bless you. Great seeing you.